If you want to become a UX designer, here are tips from over 2,000 minutes worth of mentorship from FAANG designers, such as designers from Apple, Meta, Google, and so on. You might think it's such a saturated field, or I'm studying medicine, law, completely unrelated. Well, these tips helped me secure a UX design internship at Visa for this year, so I'm sure they will work for you as well. After every tip, I also included actionable steps that you can take right now in order to become a UX designer. This is something that all the FAANG designers I've spoken to agree with. Not boot camps, not courses, not degrees, but real projects are what will teach you what design means in the real world. Here are 3 steps you can take right now to get those projects started. Number 1, look for group projects. You can go on sites like UX Rescue, where they will pair you with a nonprofit and you can communicate with the stakeholders, understand what their pain points are, and then pretty much craft a solution for them. Now, this is done on a voluntary basis, so keep that in mind, but this will get you some great real experience, what it's like working with different functions, different stakeholders, and so on. Another option is if you're in college, feel free to look at your school's hackathon, school clubs such as some like software engineering clubs. Usually they have programs where they're also partnered with local nonprofits and you can work with them to create a solution. For example, the case study that I'm pretty sure helped me get my job was from a school project. I was on a team with 5 developers, 1 engineering manager, a product manager, and we did sprints. The environment honestly emulated an internship. I would even argue that that felt more like an internship than the actual internships I've done. You can also reach out to local businesses. For example, you might be walking down a street and then you see a coffee shop specializing in matcha tea, and then they're trying to understand what do their customers want in their new menu. This could lead to, say, an online portal where you can design real-time updating menus, taking feedback from neighbors. That's just one idea, but the point is, you want to make sure you get some tangible experience that is working with lots of people. One more option is open source projects. So these are projects online that anyone can contribute to. Action number 2. If you can't find group projects, you can go and start your own project, a solo adventure. Go on sites like Sharpen, which will help you generate prompts for your design project, or you can take a course like the Google UX course. This course basically includes 3 prompts for you to get started on creating your own UX design project. And action number 3 is that you want to transform these projects into case studies that you will put on your portfolio. This will showcase recruiters what you've done, document the whole process, and understand who you are as a designer. Now, this next one is kind of a hot take, but really focus on your presentation skills first and then design skills. Yes, learn Figma as soon as possible. Understand the tool inside and out, play around with it, but at the same time, make sure you are able to articulate why you made every design decision. If you can't explain why you included a font size, a font typeface, certain color hues, don't include that design. In the industry, you're gonna be faced with questions, pushback all the time, because implementing those designs take a lot of resources and time. You need software developers to actually code them out. So every design decision needs to have a real rational reasoning. One way you can explain your design decision is based on user research that you've conducted. This one Microsoft researcher I spoke with said that in an ideal world, research is involved in every stage of the product creation process. Presenting includes explaining how those numbers from the research backs up your design decisions. But presenting as a whole is storytelling. You'll see this across not just UX design, in interviews, in user research analysis, in presenting your own portfolio. Everything comes down to storytelling. So how can you practice presentation and storytelling skills? Number one, start practicing them with users immediately. Scheduling calls with them one-on-one and understanding actually what they're struggling with. Personas are super popular on portfolios, but why would you use personas when you have real user stories to tell? Action number two is to present to the team. Again, the key here is communication. How can you convey design decision ideas to an engineer, to a product manager, to a data scientist? You gotta really be in their shoes and think of what matters to them right now and how can I convey the importance of this design decision in a way that they can understand. Ken, one of the first employees at Apple who's worked with Steve Jobs very closely, said that in any complex effort, communicating a well-articulated vision for what you're trying to do is the starting point for figuring out how to do it. So oftentimes, you don't even need to have a solution immediately. It's about how you can communicate this general idea and vibes you're trying to portray with your design, and eventually that might lead to a real tangible solution. Essentially, from brainstorming to wireframes to testing, make sure you have someone that you're talking to pretty much as frequent as possible. And also, if you don't have teammates readily available to practice with your mom, with your cat, anything anyone will do. Just make sure that you are able to present your ideas clearly. I'd say 80% of my conversations with FAANG designers, user researchers from other amazing companies are from mentorship calls. And I use this site called ADP List. Basically, this is a platform where industry experts will congregate and provide their free time, and you can consult them with anything you want. No question is a stupid question. Also, this video is not sponsored by ADP List. It's my very first YouTube video. We'll circle back in 2 years and see if that ever happens. But the point is, I've met some of the most intelligent, patient, and kind people on ADP List. And if you don't have a mentor yet, please, please, please visit this site and make it a goal. Book 4 coffee chats for this month and ask them about their journey, anything you want related to UX design. They are willing and ready to help. When you start recruiting, interviewers will ask for your impact. What was the outcome? How many users did you help? This means when you're doing those projects, document the numbers and the quantitative and qualitative results as soon as you can. You might be wondering, what if my design can't reach many users? Well, that's okay because metrics can come in different forms. What does that mean? So, of course, numbers of users impacted is one of them. You can say, 20 users were able to onboard within 5 minutes, but then they can also be percentages. 95% of users found this interface easy to navigate, or 80% of the customers preferred the new iterated design. You see how numbers can still come through even if you don't have 100 users available on your hand. And companies love numbers. For example, Amazon is extremely data-driven. They spend a lot of time learning to measure customer behavior. So start documenting those metrics. What did the customers say? How did they react? But also how many people you were able to impact, how many people found it easier to use your designs. Now, I want to talk a bit about empathy. You hear this word being thrown around all the time. Have empathy, have empathy, have empathy. I truly believe that this is a skill that everyone can build. To be a UX designer, you don't need to come out of the womb able to shapeshift into different people and understand exactly what they're thinking and feeling. Because as humans, we all have commonalities, and having empathy is going beyond this commonality and understanding what people are going through, even if you don't directly experience them yourself. So to develop more empathy, you want to take the extra steps to actually interact with your users. For example, one action is to host informal interviews. Grab a coffee with them and ask them, how are they doing? How do they feel about certain products? What is their current challenge? Or you can hold real-time design demos. So you could pull up a Figma prototype and walk them through the entire process. Observe how long it takes for them to get from point A to point B, if they can even get to point B. If not, is that a design issue or a technical ability issue from their end? If it's the latter, that is a great data point to keep in mind because different users have completely different knowledge when it comes to tech. And you would know how to iterate your designs based on that. For example, when I was working with Bookum, a nonprofit in Nashville, our user group were mainly elders. How can we design something that is so accessible, so incredibly intuitive that they don't need to ask their grandchildren for help? They don't need to ask anyone for help in order to get it done. So that's a wrap. Let me know if I can help you in any way. If you have any more questions you'd like to ask these FAANG designers, let me know in the comments below and I will ask them. All right, hop off this video and go take those actions. You got this.